Why do powerlifters have a huge arch during bench press? Everybody's ass is on fire every time I post my bench press, and especially if it's YouTube, people are like, oh my God, this is half a rep. This doesn't count. Just put your flat back on the bench and do it the normal way. All of the people who are not in the sport, you guys have no place on commenting on the bench press arch. And if you want to watch this video until the end, you will understand why. If you're not interested, if you're just a hater, you're welcome to hit a dislike and leave a mean comment and go watch some cartoons, because this video is probably not for you. This video is for people who are willing to learn, why do people arch and bench press? Is it safe? Is it dangerous? Is it safe? Is it dangerous for your back and neck? Is it cheating? And why does it get so much heat? So my name is Katya Gorbacheva. I'm an elite powerlifter with USAPL. I'm a natural athlete, and I'm also vegan. So if you hate vegans, you're welcome to just keep smashing that dislike button and leave another comment about my terrible diet like the people did in the bench press video.
Take a look.
People are just not happy when they see anybody arch. So let's watch a couple IPF, so world-class athletes, benching with a huge arch and having a short range of motion. Valeria Lishova is benching 113 kilos at 52 kilos body weight. That is insane. If you look, her range of motion is very small. Why is that, you might wonder? Well, first, because she's a short person. If you are a short person with short arms and you are trying to bench, you just do not have as much of a range of motion as the tall people who are lanky and they have long arms, long legs. They have more range of motion in all three lifts, squat, bench, and deadlift. You can't avoid that. Taller people are always going to have more range of motion, and they will also be doing more work, right? Their muscles will be doing more work, even though it's kind of not fair, because the amount of muscle that you can grow as a human is limited, and it favors short people. It favors small people. That's why you see all elite powerlifters, most elite powerlifters, they're not very tall. You will rarely find a very strong, competitive, tall powerlifter, because short limbs favor short range of motion. You can't do anything about it. It's not fair, but that's how it is. So if people like that, if people with a genetic predisposition to have an easier time doing squat, bench, and deadlift can do it, what can you do it as a taller person to make your life easier and bench more weight and be more competitive? You can learn to arch. Everybody does it. Everybody's trying to learn it. And everybody's trying to arch mostly in their thoracic spine, because your lumbar spine already has a natural curve and it will arch automatically. So you are trying to develop mobility in your thoracic, so upper back, in order to be more competitive. Because if you don't do it, you kind of are putting all of the athletes who do it at a more advantageous position. That's reason number one. Reason number two that people arch is that you will use more triceps. If you look at the arch, if I am completely flat and my arms are perpendicular to my spine, my pecs and my anterior delts work more. Now, if I'm arched, it's kind of like if I was flat and my arms were pointing down. Makes sense? So in that case, I also will engage more triceps. More triceps, less anterior delts. Better for the shoulders, better for the rotator cuff. Definitely a good and a safer move. Triceps is a bigger muscle than your anterior delt. It is much safer to engage triceps than more anterior delt and upper pec fibers. If you engage more lower pec fibers, which happens when you arch, you also kind of simulate the decline bench. And decline bench, if you have ever benched with your head a little bit down, is much easier to do than a flat bench or incline bench. Just go ahead and try it at the gym. that has the ability to decline your bench, and you will notice that it is easier. You also may notice that as I am setting up to bench, I am rotating my arms and shoulders posteriorly. So I'm moving my shoulder blades down and together. That sets my back in the more advantageous position, and I can actually engage more lats. If you think that bench press is only a chest and pec exercise, you're completely wrong. If you do it correctly and if you learn to arch, you can engage more back, which is why powerlifters have huge backs, even those who don't squat and dead as much. If you just go bench and learn to do it correctly and learn to engage your back, it is not only safer for the shoulders and more stable, it is also a very great way to grow a nice, strong, and healthy back. Now, let's look at the studies. I found a couple of studies. Some of them had athletes bench, some of them had people who do not do as much powerlifting bench with and without the arch. So one study states the arch technique increased latissimus dorsi mean and peak activation, generating activation approximately 13% maximal voluntary contraction, regardless of the percentage of one rep maximum lifted. The standardized technique resulted in integrated shoulder movements that were 8% larger. The latissimus dorsi activation paired with a decreased shoulder loading in the arch technique likely acts to minimize the amount of time spent in the sticking region, where most lifters fail. It is possible to use this technique to increase latissimus dorsi activation without increasing overall shoulder loading. What the hell does that mean? That means if you increase your arching, you load your shoulders less, and you spend less time at the very, very bottom when you're flat, and you're most likely to fail. So more lat support, less likely to fail at the sticking point. How can that be bad? I think that's great. I will link the study down below. Reason number 3, reason number 4, how many reasons have I given already? To use arch. Never forget leg drive. If you are completely flat and your legs are not engaged, you're only benching with half of your body. And you might think, oh, okay, bench is an upper body exercise. What the hell do I need my legs for? Have you ever done a push-up? Do your legs work in a push-up? Yes, your lower body works statically. So if you think about a push-up and flip it upside down, that is basically your bench, except your legs cannot go up because there's nothing to be supported with. So if you want to use your core, and if you want to gain more stability for your upper body, regardless if you're arching or not, you better use some leg drive. So you better get some flat shoes with a rubber sole or heeled shoes, doesn't matter. Any kind of shoe that provides you enough stability, whatever your height is and whatever your preference is, heel or flat, and get a good grip on the floor, rubber, wood, concrete, whatever the surface is. You need to get traction between the shoe and the floor. Drive your knees out. Your bench will get significantly better. Try it and let me know. Comment in the video and let me know whether it's easier to bench with leg drive or no. I can tell you right now because I actually prescribe Spoto bench, Spoto press, or bench without legs to some of my athletes for other reasons not discussed in this video. And then they're like, oh yeah, it is harder to bench without the leg drive. So never underestimate the legs when you're doing any upper body exercise, be it shoulder press, be it bench, especially when you're doing the 1 rep max. That stability is key. I bench alone a lot of the times because I go to the gym with my dog, and a lot of the folks are not available during the day to go spot me. My dog cannot spot me. So I am much more stable and much safer with the arch. Another great reason to have the arch is that I can set my safeties where I would be benching flat. And then when I arch, because my range of motion is slightly decreased, maybe like 2 inches from compared to flat bench, if I fail, I can literally put the bar on the safeties and roll out of it. Whereas if I was flat, I would have to rest the weight on my chest and then try to dump the barbell to the side if it was without clips. And if it was with the clips, I'd be fucked and I'd be pinned, and that would have been not very fun. So that's another great reason to use arch. If you don't have a spotter, you should consider learning the arch so that you can get out of your bench in case you fail. It is much safer if nobody's spotting you. And it's safer for your back, for your neck, for your elbows, and for your shoulders. If you notice during the arched bench, your shoulders are rotated, right? So they're more stable rather than if it's completely flat and everything is in line. You're very, if you try to do even the push up like that rather than the military push up like that with the elbows down, if you're in one plane and very kind of open, you're overworking your your upper body. So when you are arching, you are laying on your shoulder blades. So people who are saying, "Oh, you're laying on your neck," no, you're not laying on your neck. Your neck is absolutely fine. Okay. Uh, so we've covered why people arch and is it safe. Let's cover, is it cheating and why does it get so much heat? Okay. So if it's cheating or not, it depends. I guess I'm not gonna just say, oh no, bench with the arch is great. It's never cheating. There's a reason why IPF, the International Powerlifting Federation, has changed the bench rules in 2021. And their attempt was to make rules more fair, right? Because I showed you the video before with a girl doing like a 1 inch bench, and it looks, to a lot of people, it looks more like gymnastics rather than a strength sport. And they wanted for it to be more fair. So USAPL actually left IPF for other reasons, but so in IPF, you actually now need to have your elbow joint at least as low as the shoulder. So the two federations have different rules now depending where you compete. You can bench with an arch and you can bench if you compete at a world level. You have to get your elbows at least to your shoulder level, otherwise it does not count. Now, is that fair? Depending on your height. If you're a short person, sometimes, or if you're like a woman with big boobs or with a big belly, a man with a big belly, which you see a lot, it's like a running joke in powerlifting. You're a bencher if you're a girl with big boobs or a guy with a big belly, then it would be hard for you to go lower because you just, the bar runs into your body, right? If you are a longer, lankier person and you are not as flexible, then good for you. The athletes who used to arch a lot due to either their genetic predisposition to be more flexible and mobile or to have smaller height or bigger boobs, now they're out of the question. They need to learn to bench flatter, so bench less weight, or they're going to compete in a different federation entirely, and you can get ahead. So whether it's fair or not really. I think it's a step in the right direction, but I'm not the person making rules. How to make rules that are more fair and encompass more athlete and keep a strength sport about strength, not about mobility and flexibility, that's a puzzle that I don't think anybody has solved yet. And if you have ideas, please write in the comments. We would all love to read them. One thing that I'm going to say is that as of now, if this is within the rules of whatever the federation you're competing in, that means it's not cheating. Some people say sumo is cheating, and I bench with an arch, deadlift sumo. I also can bench conventional, and I can deadlift conventional, and I can bench without an arch. So if people who don't compete say, it's cheating, you don't have to listen to them. Just ask them to show their video when they competed. And if they don't have one, or if they say, this is cheating, you can be like, this is more of a question for the judges and not me, because 3 independent judges had seconds to give me a white light or a red light on my bench. And if I got 3 white lights, then what is your problem? Rules are created by people, and we attempt to make them as fair as we can, as people, as humans, as athletes. But there are flaws. And I guess the ultimate goal would be to create extra fair rules. But how should that be done and what exactly the fair rules look like? I guess depends on the sport. And ideally, with time, sports adjust based on how athletes adjust to the rules to kind of slowly bend them, because people didn't used to arch like this all the time. This has developed. People have figured out that how they can kind of bend the rules, thus the new updated rules, or federation split, having the new rules and the old rules. So you can pick and choose who you side with more and what you think is more fair or what you think fits you and your body and your genetics better. In terms of whether arching is safe or not, this is a channel and a video for beginners and not advanced folks, probably. If you're advanced, you're probably not watching this channel. You're probably watching some of the world champions, and I'm only hoping to get to the world one day. I'm a national level powerlifter. So if you're a beginner, arch away. Have fun, and you can never arch enough as a beginner, I can tell you that. If your ass is on the bench, your feet are flat on the ground, you're stable in your shoulders, arch away. If you're an advanced athlete, you know what the arch is for and how to arch. So thank you for watching. If you're an advanced athlete, virtual high five, and let's recap. The cons of arch. It's harder for people with some postural disorders. It has a learning curve. It's not going to work right away. You're going to have haters who are going to say, it's not real, it's fake. The pros of the arch. You're going to grow more muscle mass because you're going to bench more weight. You're going to have more safety in the shoulders, elbows, back, and more longevity with your lifting. You're going to be a badass powerlifter who knows their shit. And other lifters are going to appreciate and be jealous of your arch if it becomes good. Now, shall you learn how to arch? I personally think everybody needs to learn how to do great upper body exercises. Push-ups, bench press, shoulder press. If you're into Olympic lifting, learn those. Arch can definitely help you gain more muscle mass. Regardless if you're male or female or however you identify, gaining more muscle mass is usually a good thing. So you could probably learn how to arch, and if you choose to not bench without one, but already know how to do it, that's great. But try to learn it. It's really fun, and it could benefit your lifting. Especially people with shoulder problems. If you have shoulder problems or back problems, I highly recommend that you learn the arch. Women, we naturally are smaller and weaker. We have smaller upper bodies than guys. So there's nothing more badass than being able to bench as much as the guys or getting close there. I bench more than most guys. And when they look at that, they're like, huh? You're a 75 kilo vegan girl. I think that's super badass. And that's a great reason why you should learn to arch and why you should incorporate bench press in your lifting program. Speaking of that, if you need a lifting program and if you have no idea how to arch, you're welcome to fill out the coaching application in the description below. And I'd be happy to write you a powerlifting program, no matter the level. Most women start benching very narrow, hands on the bar, and also with their flat back. So they engage basically only triceps, not much chest, and they're not really engaging much back. So widen that grip and learn to arch. Pull your chest up towards the bar. Your wide bench press should be in the routine, no matter if you also incorporate the narrow bench press. Okay? And after a small learning curve, even if it's harder for your bench wide right now, it will get easier. I promise. All right, I gotta go. I had a lot of fun recording this video. I hope you had a lot of fun watching it. If you did and you watched it till the end, I'm giving you a virtual high five and a like. Now you can like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And let me know what other videos you're interested in watching, and I will see you in the next one.